Okay, so I'm here with Caleb, and he had a dream on the 19th of March.
Yep. So it was a Saturday. I just got home from going out to breakfast with my wife, and I did some cleaning, and I decided to lay down for a minute. Well, I ended up falling asleep. Well, in my sleep, it was a really deep sleep, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was dreaming. Well, this is how my dream went, and it was pretty real. Probably the most vivid and most I felt like I was actually in this dream. This one was just stood out to me because of how I woke up. Well, it started. I was in my apartment, and I was either in the living room or sitting at the dining room table on my phone doing something, but I knew I was in my apartment. Well, the room all of a sudden felt like it was spinning like really fast, and it made me nauseous. It made me nauseous in my dream, and I remember it was almost spinning so fast it knocked me out of my chair, and I got up, and it had suddenly just stopped. It stopped, so I was real nauseous, and I was like, well, what just happened? So I looked out the window, and I didn't see anything when I looked out the window. So I figured I'm gonna go outside because I thought it was an earthquake or something had happened. So I go outside. I run down my stairs in almost a panic because I didn't know if anybody was hurt. I didn't know if what had went on. But I got to the bottom of the stairs, and there was a crowd of people. Those crowd of people were all looking and pointing up at the sky. And I ran up to that crowd of people and I asked them what was going on. Well, they told me to look up. I looked up in the sky, and there was what it looked like. If you've ever seen like the Pearl Harbor Japanese planes flying over Hawaii, it was a bunch of UFOs that were just flying in kind of like not a formation. They were just flying over. Well, about a minute had passed, and one of the UFOs had changed course and direction right for our crowd of people. A couple of the people started to run away, and I ended up staying there just to see what would happen. And it was kind of dumb of me, I guess, to stay there. But so a couple of the people stayed. Well, the UFO landed right in front of us, and what you would picture a UFO to look like. That's exactly what it looked like. And I guess you would say the back opened, kind of like the vault that opens up and when it opened up, you obviously what it looked like in a movie. You see the light coming through, and those, I guess, aliens to come out. But what came out wasn't like what you would think of an alien. It was almost like a humanoid, like a robot, like it looked like it had human skin but no facial expression, no emotion to its face. It just was very distinct and very clear. Well, they walked down, and we all just kind of stood there waiting for it to say something, or waiting for it to attack. Well, there was about 3 or 4 of them, and they came down, and they took about a minute, and they said I don't know per word what they said, but they said something along the lines of, we're part of the government here to mandate the Neuralink injection for all citizens. And
Neuralink?
yeah. And at the time in my dream, I had no idea what that meant. I had never heard the word Neuralink before. I had no idea what it was. But one of the guys was like, I'll do it. I'll take it. I'll be the person. Well, the guy went up to the I guess you would say alien, and they brought out this gun. It was like an injector gun, like something that you would see in like a hospital. He turned around.
It looked like a syringe, kind of.
Yeah, it was a huge, like, long syringe gun, and he turned around, and they put it to the back of his neck, and they pulled the trigger, and you just heard like a thump, like a poof.
Ew.
And it shot down his spine, and he kind of snapped. And at that moment, like, he became, you could see it, not like he didn't transform, but you could see it that he became whatever was whatever was flying around in the UFO, that the alien, the humanoid, the robot. He became one of them. He had no emotion on his face. His skin appeared differently. I mean, it was really weird. Well, part of him was still there mentally because he was screaming out loud like, I don't want this anymore. Take it out. Get away from me. I don't want this anymore. And he was scratching and, clawing at the back of his neck to try to get it out, but it was, obviously too late. Well, I guess they got back in the UFO and they took him with, and then they left. But the thing was weird to me was that they didn't try to get all of us. Like, it wasn't like a roundup to where they were forcing it to every single one. They just got their one and then they left. Well, that's the gist of everything that I remember. But I remember when I did wake up in that dream, I'd never heard the word Neuralink before. And it just kept replaying in my head over and over and over again. When I woke up, I was lost. Like, I was in a trance. Whenever you're in a deep sleep and you sit there and you wonder, like, what just happened, or where am I? What am I doing? Well, I realized, like, after a minute that I was in my bed, but that same word just kept replaying in my head. Neuralink, 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 Neuralink. Well, I opened up my phone because it, kept replaying in my head. I wanted to see what it was or what it meant. Well, apparently, Neuralink is a real thing, and I had no idea that it was. But, I was like just lost when I woke up. I was just in a trance, and I felt that this dream, was almost real. It felt real. It was kind of like it was telling me something that's going to happen, or telling me to. It was almost like a warning.
So
like
this is why we're sharing it, because it's something that we feel needs to be shared.
Well, if you look up on Google, it's a real thing. Neuralink is a real thing. They take humans with AI technology and they combine them. And that's exactly what came out of that UFO. So I'm not thinking that this is just it's just a regular dream. Like, no, this is a real thing that's actually going on.
And Elon Musk headed it up, and the plan is to put them into humans this year. Yeah. 2022, that they had done a trial with monkeys.
And it's weird that I just had never heard that word or that term before, and it ended up being a real thing. And how does my brain put two and two together? Okay, you got humanoid aliens, you got AI technology in humans, and that they're flying around in UFOs, landing, and trying to force this upon the people, and it.
Do you think maybe in the dream you were like an observer, and that's why it didn't happen to you, or it was just they did one guy?
In my dream it was one guy, and that one guy, he was clawing. He was almost making himself bleed in the back of his neck where they injected him.
Because he was trying to get it out because he didn't like it.
Because he didn't like it.
He didn't like the way it made him feel.
No.
And it transformed him into a hybrid, and there was nothing he could do to take it out.
Stood out to me. The fact that it changed his body, his emotion, his whole outlook after he took that injection.
And he could still kind of think, because he was like, I want this out of me. I don't like the way it feels, but he became part of the system.
Yeah, and he couldn't get out of it. And it is the whole dream when I woke up was pretty eye-opening, because the fact that it's actually happening.
Like, what did it make you feel like in your walk with God? Like,
to me, it spoke to me, and it was screaming to me that this is actually going on. This is a real thing, and you need to get right, because this is what's coming. And that's what spoke to me when I woke up.
Get your heart right with Jesus.
The rest of the day, that day, I didn't feel right. I was still nauseous from my dream. Like, it just kept the whole dream just kept replaying in my head. And everyone has dreams, but some dreams you wake up and you forget 15 minutes later. Like, it's still replaying in my head. Like, what happened. It felt like a prophecy.
Yes.
It felt like a prophetic dream.
And the Lord does speak in dreams. Through Job, it talks about when sleep fall upon men, they get visions that terrify them, and that's, to me, what this was. So.